As many of you know, I was a student here in 74, 75, and when I became president back in 2004, we didn't have much of a following at that time, but boy, we have one now, and we had some fantastic people apply for this job, and we got the most fantastic of the people. I'm just so pleased, and I sent Joe a note the other day saying, thanks for taking this on for us, and I want to thank his family too, because this is a long distance run, and when I watch the hockey games from the box mostly, and some of you may see me standing there like this and looking out, and I don't know who's more nervous, the coaching staff or me or the players, but you watch all of these guys out on the ice just giving their heart out, and one of the things that just impressed me, I better clean it up here, we're on live, but when we went to the senior banquet this year and listened to all of the things that the seniors had to say as they were leaving Michigan Tech, and I don't think there was one of them who didn't say something great about Joe and what he had done for them while they were here at Michigan Tech. So keeping that family spirit alive at Michigan Tech is really important, and I think Joe's the guy that's going to do it, and we're just really pleased that he's here with us today. Thanks.
I think I got it. I can handle it. Good morning. I also would like to welcome everybody and thank you for being here, and congrats to Joe and welcome to his family. We're so happy to have you here, and this is a big day for Huskies, and I too love having the team all here. It's awesome to see you guys all. So just a few things. I've been incredibly impressed with Joe since his arrival here at Michigan Tech. As we all know, Joe's focus is on building relationships. And it's these relationships that help us to develop successful individuals who win not only on the ice, but more importantly, in life. I'm confident that Joe will continue to emphasize a culture of care, of compassion, of discipline, confidence, and that which is the Michigan Tech family that we all know and love. Joe has spent the bulk of his life and career traipsing across the Upper Peninsula. And it seems like everywhere that Joe goes, winning seems to follow him. The past 3 years here at Michigan Tech have been some of the best hockey that we've had in 30 years. And much of this success can be attributed to Joe, not only to his coaching, but to his mentoring, his parenting, his listening, his building rapport and respect with the players and all of those around him. At Michigan Tech, we talk a lot about making a difference in the lives of those who will make a difference in the lives of others. And I'm pretty confident this is the person that we know and have selected to be our hockey coach here at Michigan Tech, and Joe Shawhan. He's the type of coach that Michigan Tech needs now. He knows the game. He knows the players. He knows the program. He knows the community. And I know that all of us are looking forward to his great success. Congrats, Joe. Go Huskies.
I think so. Good morning, and thank you to all of you for being here and all the excitement about Michigan Tech hockey. And I think everyone in this room has a real passion for Michigan Tech Athletics, the university, and today specifically celebration of the future of the hockey program. It is wonderful to see the McGinnis family here and their continued support of our program, of me, of the direction that we're going. So thank you so much for being here. It is very much a historic day for Michigan Tech hockey as we name our 22nd head coach. Joe Shawhan has been an integral part of our program over the last 3 years, and he has demonstrated the characteristics that we are looking for as the leader of our program. Michigan Tech hockey is in a much different place today than it was 6 years ago. Mel Pearson was instrumental in returning the program to national prominence. He made Michigan Tech hockey relevant again on a national stage, and he also proved that you can win here. I am thankful to him for his time and commitment to the program. Our goal was to find a coach who could continue our upward momentum. The search process was very purposeful and attracted many very qualified candidates. We made a commitment to bring in several in order to meet with them face to face, not only for us to get to know them, but to give them an opportunity to see the great support staff that we here have at Michigan Tech, the support staff that is going to be with the next coach, because we're a team. We're going to do this together. It was important for us to demonstrate that we are all invested in and care deeply for the future of Michigan Tech hockey. And I appreciate the time and patience of all of our staff that were involved in the process. Specifically, Brian Brewster, the Assistant Athletic Director for Sports Medicine and Performance, Tyler Shalas, Strength and Conditioning Coach, Michael Stevens, Director of Hockey Operations, Joel Isaacson, Calvin Larson, Gary Kruzich, External and Media Relations, Kevin Luke and Elaine Isaacson, Darcy Way, Advancement and Alumni Relations, Reese Edwards, NCA Compliance and Student Athlete Services, Dr. Bill Spruill, who is our Faculty Athletic Representative. I owe a debt of gratitude to Glenn Mraz and Les Cook for taking time to meet with all of our candidates to demonstrate the commitment that the university has to the hockey program and that our administration has to the next hockey coach. And finally, a huge thank you to Michael Neville and Brett Baltus, two of our hockey student athletes, one that recently graduated and one that will be returning with us next year. These two young men have shown great leadership throughout this process, and I have been incredibly impressed with how articulate they are, how thoughtful they are, and how much great insight that they provided to me throughout the process, not only about where the hockey program has been, but where they want the hockey program to go. There are also several alumni and friends of the program that provided feedback and support throughout the process, and I truly do appreciate all of that have reached out to me to share their thoughts and insights. While a past affiliation to Tech hockey is always a positive, we were looking for a man with character, integrity, and the ability to build relationships, and someone who would genuinely care about everyone that he works with. We wanted a coach with high hockey IQ, and people say goalies know the game better than anybody. We wanted an individual with a vast network and strong relationships on the recruiting trail and a proven record of player development. A key factor that we were looking for is that they have been associated with and instrumental in a winning culture. Finally, we wanted an individual that embraces our community. Joe is, Joe is a man with character and integrity, and he genuinely cares about people that he works with. As Les stated, he is a relationship builder. He not only cares about our hockey student athletes performing on the ice, but in the classroom. He focuses on developing them into better hockey players, better students, but more importantly, into positive role models that will leave Michigan Tech better than when they came. Joe Shawhan fit all of the characteristics that I mentioned. He is an instrumental part of our winning culture, creates consistency, and provides a very good path to continue our upward movement. We look forward to him continuing the momentum. A little bit more about our new head coach. Joe earned 4 letters at Lake State as a goaltender, led the CCHA in both goals against average and save percentage during the 85-86 season. He is the all-time winningest coach in the history of the North American Hockey League, with 474 wins after leading the Sioux Indians for 10 years as the head coach and GM. The team never had a losing season. He captured 3 league titles and earned 4 trips to the USA National Tournament. He was named the NAHL Coach of the Year 3 times. Joe spent 3 seasons as an assistant coach at Lake Superior State and 6 seasons at Northern Michigan, where he combined for 1 NCAA tournament appearance and 3 CCHA championship appearances. For the past 3 seasons, he has been an assistant coach at Michigan Tech. He was brought on staff to work with the goaltenders and defensemen, and during his time, we were 75, 34, and 14. Went on to the NCAA tournament twice, won the McNaughton Cup in 15-16 and the Broadmoor Trophy in 16-17. And the Huskies were ranked in the top 2 in the WCHA and top 10 in the country in goals against average all 3 years. He coached Jamie Phillips and Angus Redmond to NHL contracts while at Michigan Tech. He coached Hobey Baker winner Ryan Miller, who has been in the NHL since 2002 during his junior time, and also coached Jared Carew to an NHL contract with the Detroit Red Wings while he was in Marquette. And at this time, I would like to introduce the 22nd head coach at Michigan Tech, Joe Shawhan.
Hi, Jerry. I'm glad you made it. Thank you. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have had to wear these glasses, but maybe I'm more experienced now. I want to start out by thanking Dr. Mraz for his for turning this program over in some way and sharing it with me. I'm president of Michigan Tech. Vice President Dr. Les Cook, I'm sorry. Thank you. We had a nice emotional interview. I got a lot out of it, and I think you did as well. And I'd especially like to thank Athletic Director Dr. Suzanne Sandregret for her belief and mentorship in me and her guidance through the last 3 years of the expectations of this program, this storied program, and the role that we play in it throughout the university, the community, and the landscape of college hockey. I do want to add one thing. I've already learned a great deal, and I hope you're okay if I share this. When she called and offered me the job, she said, we have to work on my wardrobe. So and I told her I thought I was a snappy dresser, and it was going to be hard to get a nice suit over the weekend. I was recruiting downstate prior to Monday with the holiday being yesterday, but I was able to do it. And then I got thinking about it. I thought, I haven't gotten a new suit. She wanted me to get into the 2000s, into the new century. And I thought to myself, I haven't gotten a new suit in that time. I haven't even changed my haircut since I was in about 7th grade. It's gotten a little thinner, but this is what you have to look forward to. I want to thank, I don't know if everybody is here, but I want to thank Assistant AD Kevin Luke. I know he's here for all his friendship, his guidance. I enjoy he and Augie and Q in the mornings. We solve all the world's problems right down the hall, having coffee at 7:30 in the morning, every morning. Assistant Athletic Director Joel Isaacson. I don't know if Joel is here, but thank you for everything you've done for me, Joel, and for our program. Assistant AD Brian Brewster, who will be with me every step and helping us through this process. He's a real voice for our team. Kelvin Larson, our SID, thanks for everything you've done, Kelvin. Dirk, thank you for hosting this event. Dirk said. The SDC staffing, and thanks for welcoming me in early this morning, Nordy, Andre, CR, all of your entire staff, Chris, everybody, thank you so much for all you do for us, and I'll try to be easy to work with. I promise you that. I know the last month or 5 weeks has been emotional for everybody. I think more so for you people that are passionate about the program and about the university than it was for the candidates, because we kind of knew the place and the procedure and what was going down, and it was an excellent process. We were able to meet with a lot of people. I think I had an advantage or a disadvantage that I knew everyone I was meeting with. So it was more of a conversation. And I guess as a advantage that they know me, and they can make a true recommendation. So that's the advantage to the program and to the university. The disadvantage could be that they know me, and they could make a recommendation to the program and the university. But I'm glad it went the way it did. With the emotional phase of it, and I would hear the comments from the people, from being upset, being disturbed, being the emotion, the anxiety of the program, the whole realm of it. I can tell you firsthand, with having worked with Mel Pearson for the last 3 years daily, and knowing him for the last 20 years, he deeply loves this community, and he deeply loves Michigan Tech University. But his heart was someplace else, and there's nothing you can do about that. But it doesn't change the fact that he loved this community, these players, this team, and did a great deal for it. But what I can tell you is, through fault, I am a Youper. I've had lots of opportunities to go other places. I love the UP, and my heart is here. So. As far as the team, I got to meet with our players this morning, and I told them what I told Dr. Sandberg earlier. I couldn't wait to get back here from downstate. I wanted to be with them, and I wanted to be with Tyler, and I wanted to be with Mikey and Brewer. I wanted to be with the staff and with the players. I wanted to share it with them. I wanted to look in their eyes and tell them what they meant to me, and let them know we'll walk this journey together like we have before with each of them individually. And the main message I shared with them is that I don't want anything to change in our relationship, in my relationship with them. I want to be a mirror for them, so that if there's a problem and they see it in my face, then we'll resolve it, and we'll remove all the barriers. And if they look at me and they see pride and joy, then they're on their way to reaching their potential, which is ultimately what it's about. When I came here, what I loved about our culture, and our players are our culture. Our players are our culture. They're the selling point. The staff that was here before me, Mel and Billy, who brought me here, Jamie Russell before them, Damon, Pat Mickish, and those before did a great job of bringing these players here, and in their time working with them, that allowed me to enjoy the time I've had with them and the two classes that have graduated, or now the three classes that have graduated from here. But our culture is our strength. There's a great opportunity. We have a lot of change. We had a great defensive core, the best I've ever been around. There's opportunity for people to step up and earn their spot in the light. There's opportunities up front. We're losing tremendous forwards. When you look at the character that we have to replace in Mike Neville, Reed Sturos, Lives, you don't do that easily. And I thank you for what you're leaving, you guys, what you're leaving for these players to look up to. I want to share a little story about our culture and about the type of individual we have here, and I'll try to get through it without getting too emotional. Most people don't know this. In the last game, and I talked to this individual last night, in the last game against Bowling Green, we had a player that was playing for the last month, deeply injured. It ended up being an orbital break in his shoulder. We thought labrum tears and things involved as well, Shane Hanna. And we were spotting him. He wasn't skating at all during the week. And he was in his sling, and he'd go in and he'd do his leg work in the weight room, and Tyler did a great job, and Brew did a great job of keeping him available to use on the weekends. He would get his treatments, he'd get in and play and give us whatever he could give us through the entire playoffs. He gave us whatever he could give us. It might be a couple shifts in a period. It might be we'd try to save him for power play. I ran the D, so I'd spot him, and we had a relationship where he'd tell me what he could do and what he couldn't do, and we'd work around it. Sometimes we had to move Lives back to D, and we didn't miss a beat with it. In that last game, going into the third period and the overtime, Shane Hanna hardly played. I don't believe he played a shift in the first overtime. And what happened, the game went on. It was a longer game, and and we had some players cramping, and one of them was the player that was replacing him. Chris Leibinger was cramping. And Brew was doing a great job with electrolytes and things and getting him so that he could go, but in between the first and second overtime, he was cramping. So I asked Shane if he could give us a few shifts, that we'd have some opportunity in there to go with 5D, but if he could give us a few to get us through that while we tried to get Leibs back where he could go. And we did that. We worked with 5. Shane gave us 3 or 4 shifts, and it got down to around the 9-minute mark. And Shane, we told, Leibs said he could play. And so I said to Shane, you did your job, kid. Thank you for everything. We'll carry it from here. And he looked at me and he said, I want to play. He said, I can go. And I said, you did your job. You did your job. You're more important right now. We'll get you ready for the national tournament. And he pulled me down, and I leaned down and he said, I want to go. And that's when he scored his goal. That shift. That's what we have in our locker room. To the coaches, thank you for being here. I love you all. My first night in town, Billy McCult picked me up and brought me over to Josh Bittner's house for a good old-fashioned UP barbecue outside. Most coaches were there. Cheese came late. He had a football game in Calumet he had to go to. I remember that. That was my first experience with Cheese, and I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed him ever since. We banter. He hates Belichick. I love him. But I really thought to myself, this group is special. I already felt like the old guy around there, so. But I thought they were special. I enjoyed it. Some coaches from Finlandia as well. From that point on, I've tried to get to know all of them and spend time with them. I've gotten to know most of them personally in a close way. And I love seeing your teams perform. And I want you to know that our program is there to support you. We'll do whatever we can, and I'll do whatever I can to help you get the recruits that you need to be successful. And I know that you will all be there for me, and I thank you so much for being here today. Thank you very much. Luca especially. My style of coaching, and I'll try to wrap this up, is I think now they'd call it transformational. Back when I started doing it, it didn't have a name, but it is about the individuals. You know, before, when you used to you used to really work your way through and try to build relationships and do it that way instead of demanding, it was wondered if you could win that way. Until guys like Tony Dungy did it. But I got to see Jeff Jackson do it firsthand, people like that, and do it through respect and admiration and pride, and doing every detail the right way in your life. And that's what we talked about today as a team. Our guys do that. We've had no trouble in the time that I've been here with our players. And that's what we will look to continue. Our players, our locker room is a value-based locker room. I want our players in class. I'd like them to sit in the front of the class, Dane. And we want to graduate our athletes. The opportunity that a student athlete or a student in general has at Michigan Tech is second to none. If you look around the world, there's Michigan Tech people sprinkled in all the higher levels throughout the world, in engineering and business, in the different fields. Michigan Tech people hire Michigan Tech people. It's very Ivy League-like. It's a great opportunity. I can look at a parent and say, I don't know how things will work out for hockey, but I can tell you how it will work out with life if your son does his job and gets his degree. Michigan Tech people hire Michigan Tech people because they're the best in every industry, from the military on through, because they're the best. They don't hire, their reputations are on the line. They hire because they're coming after the best that there is. I want to just take a few minutes and mention some of the people who have been very influential to me in my lifetime, helped me and informed me. Ron Callery, a friend of mine, my first hockey coach ever, who's still a lifelong friend. I talked to him the other day, checks in on me, took me in as a son, basically. Elmo Laux, Manny Boucher, the same. Those people cared about the individual more than they cared about a win or a loss. My feeling is that those things, and I had a great talk with Dr. Cook about that those things will take care of themselves. If we're doing our thing the right way, we're getting the right people in here, that stuff will take care of itself. What we want is good people. And if we have good people, the success will happen for us. Fred DeVono, my first high school coach, UP Hall of Famer, always did things the right way. Bill Selman, who recruited me at Michigan, or at Lake Superior. Frank Anzalone, who coached me at Lake Superior and then asked me and allowed me to stay on in various capacities after, while I was working in industry for 8 years, doing engineering, surveying type stuff that would be in your field. For a couple of Michigan Tech grads, Larry Rogers and Bill Carr in the forestry department. More Michigan Tech people hiring Michigan Tech people. Jeff Jackson, who allowed me to stay on when Frank left. All these individuals, national champions in the UP. So when people would tell me you can't win, or here's how you can only do it this way, I never saw that. I never felt that. I was fortunate enough to be around 3 national championships at Lake Superior and a 4th final. So it can be done, and I hope that it will be done. Walt Kyle at Northern Michigan, another individual who won a national championship in the UP, a great friend and a great mentor who taught me a different style of the game, a pro style, and I'm indebted to that. And Mel for Mel and Muck, Billy McCall, and Johnny Rockwell for convincing me to come over here, that this was a special place, and convincing me to come over here 3 years ago, and it was the best move I made. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've enjoyed the players. I've enjoyed the community. I spent a lot of time here as a youth. I enjoyed rekindling a lot of relationships. Finally, I want to do just final introductions. My lovely wife, Laura. I love you dearly. You know, I was asked by somebody, I'll get off a little bit again now. I was asked by somebody, do you know where you fit in the process? Were you first, second, third? You know, I said, I don't really have a comment on that because it was a media thing. And I thought to myself, you know, I never even thought to ask that. It doesn't even matter to me, you know, where I fit in it. I don't care if I was first, second, third. I just know where I am now. And I know I finished above whoever was behind me. So that worked out well. And then I thought to myself, you know, I don't even think I was my wife's first choice. You know, if she could have married Denzel Washington, I think she would have. So I appreciate that Denzel didn't beat me to the altar, but we've had over 30 wonderful years, high school sweethearts. My daughter Maya, who surprised me yesterday, she's a speech pathologist down in in Arkansas, and Fort Smith, Arkansas. I haven't been there yet. But she hurried up and rushed up when she got the news and rushed in the door last night, and it was great to see her, and thank you for being here, honey. My daughter Rachel, who's a sophomore in college. My wife decided after 6 years after our son was born that she wanted to have another child. I said, are you sure? And here came Rachel. And she's been a blessing for us ever since. My son Jordan's doing what guys do. He's on a 2-month sabbatical over in Europe, trying to figure the world out. He did say, by the way, what city was it he just loved? Venice. Said it was the best city he's ever seen in his life. He was there a couple days ago, and he'll do Rome in the next couple days. My sisters, Cherie and Joe, Carl and Richard, who weren't able to be here today. My Aunt Betty, who's here, Betty Samuelson, who's knows me longer than anybody here, but I think she probably changed my diapers, and that's not a joke. I think she probably did change my diapers, but we've known her since I was in diapers. So, but you know, there's very few people, and when you really think about how many people in your life can you think about that her and Uncle Eddie, that you can't think of a single time when they weren't special. When you look forward to, I hope I get to see Aunt Betty and Uncle Eddie. And she's impacted everybody's life like that. And I want you to know how special you are to our family. Thank you so much. I know Q's here. I want to mention Q for sure, because we're solving world's issues every day. Jan. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. I think there's a couple more things, some photos, and I certainly want to answer any questions you have. I'm sorry if I went long. But I'm very approachable. I'm very community-oriented. During this whole process, every week to 10 days or so, I tried to make it down to the KBC just so the group down there could ask questions so that they would feel included to solve their anxiety issues. So I think that's a big part of what I do. I want our team to be involved in the community. I want to know when there's activities that you want us at. We want to continue our outreach to the schools. Rotary, anything that you need us to support you at, I want you to know that I'll be there for you. With that, we'll move on to the next phase. Thank you.
All right. Two, check 1, 2. Well, Joe, I don't know if we want to stay up here or if you want to sit down and take questions. It's whatever you want to do. We're going to get the mics going around, but we will take any questions for Coach Shawhan. And then again, following that, you can meet up in the suites for a reception there. 2, 1, 2. All right, first of all, does anybody have a question?
Joe, you've been involved with Northern Michigan, Lake Superior State, and Michigan Tech. What is it about Michigan Tech that makes it so special, as far as a UP school and, on the national stage now for hockey?
Well, the university, right to start with the tradition of the university, a special thing here that they never really had in the Sioux, although we had it going pretty good for quite a while in the Sioux with support and things, but because it's a newer university, actually Sault Ste. Marie, Lake Superior is a shoot-off of Michigan Tech. It was Sioux Tech. It was a 2-year program to get the Canadian type student, Northern Lower Peninsula type student, to give them 2 years and then transfer over here. What's incredible here is how old the university is, how old the hockey program is, and how the university and the community are entwined. Like there's, homecoming is a community event, where homecoming in as an example in Sault Ste. Marie, is high school football. The community here and the university are one and the same. And I'll tell you, there's a special characteristic. Jerry will like this. When I was drawn. I went out with the guys from the 75 team this year when they came, because Jimmy Warden had recruited me, the goaltender from that team who went on to be an assistant coach. So we went out, and there were the similarities between now and then, and I can't speak in between, but we're uncanny. Like the respect that they had for John McGinnis, like and how he was to them, like the father figure he was to them, is what any coach dreams of being. And I was telling the guys today, a thing that impressed me big was this team was a national championship team, which you think athletes, maybe don't pay as much attention to the academics. The biggest thing they talk about is the competition for the slide rule, which is the top academic student. That was the culture that was ingrained in them. That was the competition, was the slide rule. And then the other thing was that I shared with our team, my first year here with Tanner, Caro, and those guys, we never had a bad practice. And those guys said that, and I thought, that was just like the first year. They said they never had a bad practice. Those guys came every day to challenge each other, to hold each other accountable, and to get better. So that's the culture that's been established here. That's the culture they had then. So I'm spoiled. Let's be honest. I've been here. There was a deep yearning when I came here to have a 500 record. There's a deep yearning to get a home ice advantage. There's a deep yearning, to get to advance to the championships. There's a deep yearning to get in the national tournament. Many of those things hadn't happened for 35, 40 years. We were able to do that. So I've been spoiled right from day one. We won 10 games out of the gate, and we're #1 in the country. So, and it hasn't been really, we haven't looked back from there, and we were able to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish. I want to make sure I mention these two guys right here, Tyler Shalast and Mikey. Those are my best buddies and could be coaches. That's a great thing we have. Those two guys could be coaches here within our program. Their knowledge of the game is incredible just by being around in osmosis and how they handle things.
Coach, I have a question for you. Can you give us your thoughts on the beginning of the schedule at Madison and then at Duluth for the icebreaker?
I got to be honest with you, I haven't looked at it. So I can't. We want to beat Wisconsin. We want to win the icebreaker. I know Wisconsin's got it going. I know that Tony and Don and Mark have done a great job there and have turned that around in 1 year. So it'll be fun to play them. I always enjoy playing Wisconsin. We had when I was at Northern, we had a perpetual thing where we'd open up the year with them, either at Green Bay or in Madison. And I know our players will enjoy the environment. So.
Any other questions for Coach Shawhan? Either media or community, players? All right, thank you very much for coming here today. Congratulations again to Coach Shawhan, 22nd coach of Michigan Tech hockey. And again, we invite you all to head on up to the suites for the reception there. And we can't wait till the season gets underway. Thank you very much.